to praise people who are being bold enough to enter into therapy and to discuss an offense and to discuss a wound, because they're in a position to gain tools to help them work through the injury and the pain so that they can come out on the other side of forgiveness. You can go to a spiritual advisor. If you're a spiritual person, go to your pastor, acknowledge it, confess it. I'm hurt and I can't, I don't know how to deal with it. It's important that you begin to seek the help. Go beyond yourself and get the help that you need. If you can't help yourself, go on and stretch out and get some help from other people. Develop and build your love, because the Bible says love covers the multitude of sins. So when you're benevolent and you just love people, then you're more likely to listen. If you ever notice, like the mothers who, their children, they act up and they still love them. Jeffrey Dahmer's parents still showed up to his trials and what he did. They didn't support his action, but they loved him, so they were willing to work with him. So when you love someone, then it makes you more willing to work with them and to see their side of it and to be kind and to be respectful. So even if you can't initially pour that love on the person who hurt you, continue to do love acts, continue to love other people and to be loving, because you're keeping that love alive. And so eventually you'll be able to share that love because you'll have it, because unforgiveness dries up love and it makes you cynical and it makes you angry and resentful and bitter to the bone. But love is a spring of life. So it helps to balance and bring equilibrium to the offense so that you can eventually overtake the pain with the love. So keep the love flowing. Keep the love and the benevolence, serving people, being kind. Encourage yourself and encourage the congregation and encourage your clients to keep the love flowing. The mind plays a huge role. We talked about it, the shifting the paradigms, and this is how you're going to do it. Because our brain has a negative bias. You have to be aware that we have a negative bias. And the negative bias, like we spoke of earlier, it's to keep us safe. It's to alert us to things that could take love from us, take safety from us, and take our self-worth from us. And most of us think self-worth will get us love and will give us connection and safety. So our negative bias is like just always on alert, 24/7, even in our dreams, watching to keep us safe. And so that bias, it looks for negativity. Just like Eve in the garden with all the wonderful things she had, she was focused on one negative thing that she wasn't supposed to have. She had the whole garden, but she was focused on the negativity, right? And so the negative bias will keep you in the unforgiveness. Someone could have done 100 nice things, but they didn't pick you up one time. Someone may have picked you up. Someone may have loaned you money like for 20 years, but one time they said, I can't loan you this money. And so you're going to remember that one time, because that's the brain, the negative bias that our brain has. It takes 30 good actions to kind of remove that one bad action. So we're outnumbered with the negative bias. So, and part of shifting the paradigm is knowing that I have a lot of negativity, and I'm going to have to, on purpose, challenge the distorts and, my moral superiority, that I always have it together, and challenge that I'm always looking for the negative in people to prove that they weren't sorry and that they did want to hurt me. And now I'm looking for the positivity. I'm looking for the shifting. And one way that you can help your clients or help yourself shift your brain out of just seeing things one way, because people get fixed in because of, like I said, the way our hippocampus and our amygdala, all of the way that our brain functions, and it remembers the event. And if you want to take people through the process of shifting the lens, because they're stuck. When you're in unforgiveness, you're stuck. So this is the practice of teaching people how to shift the lens. You have them share how they feel, the experience, and then you have them share a strength that they have, and then you have them share a hope that you have. By integrating the strength and the hope, you're allowing them to move in their prefrontal cortex, and you're moving them just from the feelings. So you're allowing them to add to the story. And in forgiveness and teaching people how to walk in forgiveness, you have to add to the story. You have to add a but and an and, because forgiveness is, you hurt me, I can't believe you did this, and I'll never forget this. And you won't forget it because there is no real sea of forgetfulness in that way. The sea of forgetfulness means I'm not going to charge you for it. But it doesn't mean that God doesn't remember, and it doesn't mean that you won't remember, just that you won't remember in the sense of to pay them back, because remember means to pay back. And in some instances, in this instance. So you are choosing that the memory of the offense is still there, but when you add your strengths and the strengths of the relationship or the hope of the relationship, you can build on it, and then it bridges it, and it brings equilibrium to the thought process, and it brings equilibrium to their ability to choose to be back in relationship. But if people can only stay stuck on the offense, the experience, then there's no hope of walking in forgiveness. So the goal is to also, even if they have to go back, what was the good things about it? What did you like? What was a good memory that you had? What was a good time that you had with this person? Or what did you observe them do for other people? Because no one is 100% bad. What happens is, again, the negative bias begins to make you see people through the negative lens of that experience, and now all you see is bad. So it's important that you teach people to reintegrate the other aspects of the person who offended them, right? So we're moving people, and we're moving ourselves from the limbic system of just feeling, to the rational, to the university. This is where all the education is. So this is our university. We want to move them from just feeling, which is the amygdala, to the university, to bring it to the front. But in order to bring it to the front, we must always validate the experience by listening and not fighting them for the details. Let them tell the story the way they tell the story, and then adding a different perspective, balancing the thought process so that they can reframe and they can reframe and be focused, and add, some other components to it. I'm hurt, but I'm still here, because you want, the hope brings in that I'm not totally destroyed by the offense. I'm not powerless. I still can move forward. So we have to kind of, to bring in that hope element to pump up ourselves and other people, that it's not over, because the offense is also an indicator of loss. And so you feel like all is lost. My life is over because I lost my innocence. My life is over because I lost, your trust, or I lost faith in you, or whatever it is. I lost the relationship we used to have. So infusing hope into the scenario allows the person who's been offended to be empowered and to know that it's not over. I don't have to stay stuck here. I get to move. So you want to add the but and the and. I was hurt, and I'm still going to be okay. I can love again. I can trust again. I was, hurt, and I was deceived, but we're all human. Humans disappoint one another. When you add those flowery words of but and, it allows a way of escape from being stuck in unforgiveness, and it bridges you and your clients and your congregation into hope of being happy again, which kind of helps to mediate the emotional feelings of, this was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I'll never escape it. And so when someone feels like that, then it's hard for them to move into forgiveness. So we want to give them a glimpse of life after the trauma, life after the betrayal, life after the incest, life after the pain, that you have to help them to be able to visualize and know that there is life after the injury, life after the injury. And so we get to choose. And we're actually acknowledging the pain, but helping the clients and ourselves go from a victim to being healed. Because you can't occupy both seats. So the objective in adding and but is to bring in choice. Like, you can stay in the stuck, offended position, or you can decide to move on. Now, here's the caveat to this. what happens to people when they are offended, it's a triangle. Cartman talks about a triangle. And the three triangle is you can become the victim, the aggressor, or you can become the rescuer. And in those mixes, sometimes there's a benefit to becoming the victim, to staying the victim, because now someone owes you and you don't owe the world anything. You just, bestow upon me mercy, kindness, goodness, because I've been inflicted. It's almost like being the patient. Some people love being the patient, and they have Munchausen syndrome where, parents make their kids sick because they want the sympathy. So sometimes people love the attention and the sympathy of being the wounded one. So you have to check that. And you have to understand there's a secondary game. Ask yourself and ask other people, like, what are you like? And this is hard because people don't like to admit this, but bringing it in a way that's not attacking what are some of the benefits that you've received from being the victim, or this incident? Are people nicer to you? Are people more understanding? Because if people are nicer and if you get more attention, then you're least likely to forgive, because holding this grudge is getting you more attention. People are off your back. People are not demanding things from you because you've hurt, you've been molested, you've been abused, you've been betrayed. So you're fragile and people don't expect things from you. So you have to understand in that triangle, are you being the victim? Or are you being the aggressor? Where now is it the aggression that's serving you, where you're getting revenge, or other people are joining in and now there's aggressiveness, and which is causing the forgiveness circle to get bigger and bigger, and you're not helping the situation? Or are you tracking, like I said, rescuers? Victims attract rescuers. You attract intercessors, you attract people who want to fight for you, and then you attract people who want to rescue you, and you can become addicted to being rescued. You become addicted to the martyr of, look what they did to me.